Hey guys, Kev here, and I have a little bit of a knife ramble or whatever we want to call it, a topic type video today. And I want to talk about corrosion resistance. All right, so I want to talk about rusting your knives. I want to talk about the best options to not rust your knives. So, what knives are the best, what steels are the best, that kind of thing, right? I also want to talk about what not to do. And then I want to talk about scenarios a little bit. Right now, this is all going to happen in one big ramble because I don't write shit down. I just had this idea and wanted to do it, right? So I got my Spindrift here, mango, orange. Absolutely love this stuff. Highly recommend that. Now, if you rust your knives, it's probably because it's hot and sweaty, it's humid, or you're just a sweaty dude, in which case you probably need a refreshing drink like Spindrift Mango Orange. You can get this at your... I'm just kidding. I do love this stuff, though, and I highly recommend it, but they don't sponsor me. I wish they did. Even if I just got free drinks. So, we got some different options here, right? If you're like me, and you're a sweaty dude, you're probably going to rust your knife. I mean, it's just how it goes down, unless you do what I do and try to be careful. I still have issues. But from last year to this year is a huge difference. I think one of those differences is I quit drinking. And I think the alcohol in my blood and when I was sweating, I think it made me sweat more. And I also think it did something to my sweat and made it like acidic or something. And made it worse, right? Now, I've still, like, rusted a little bit here and there this year, but it's way better this year. Two, I've been keeping my air conditioner in my bedroom, which I have my studio, like, in the corner of my bedroom, and I have a shelving unit, my knife case, a desk, all that shit, right? Lights. And I always keep my knives in the case, but I always keep the case open. That's how I always did it, because I want to be able to just grab them, and I don't want it to feel like they're put away, you know. So last year, whenever I left the room, I would turn the air conditioner off because I was trying to just save money on that. If I'm not in the room, why do I need it on, right? We have window units because I live in a 100-year-old house, and it's just, honestly, it's the best option. I've looked into a central air. But anyway, I think what happens is when you do that, one, you're shutting the air off, and the AC is what pulls the humidity out, essentially. But two, you basically have like an open window, sort of. Like the air conditioner isn't open, but there's definitely some, air coming in and out and around the air conditioner. So you're taking away the air conditioner, and you're also kind of leaving yourself open to more humidity. And then having the knife case open, you know what I mean? So now when I leave the room, I try to shut the case. If I turn the air conditioner off, I shut the case and close it, and I have these KPL rust prevention things in there. So I might as well point these out before we talk about knives. You can go on their website and pick these up, knifepivotlube.com. Use my code LeftyEDC. It has these beads in there. And you can actually open this up. Try to do it without shooting them across the room. Come on, baby. Here we go. So you can open that up, and you can pour these out, and it comes with instructions. And you can actually put these in your oven and remove the humidity and then reuse them, which is pretty cool. So essentially, you can just reuse these a bunch of times. And I've never done that. And you can see there's still a bunch of clear ones in there. The ones that are dark are the ones that have absorbed humidity all the way or whatever. Once they're all like that, that's when I need to do it. And I've had these for like 6 months, so it's pretty good, I'd say. And then they also sell the tabs. They're like these little yellow tabs. I think I have them. Oh, here's some. They come in like a 3 or 5 pack or something, and they kind of just feel like a stick of gum. And you just put that in one of your knife slips or whatever you want to do, right? Slots, I mean. Spread them out a little bit, or put it in your drawer if you have a drawer full of stuff, knives. And then I also keep these from almost every package you get, every knife you get. There's these things in it, the desiccant, I think it's called. And I just throw those in my case all around. Just anything I can do, right? But anyway, I will shut the case. And by the way, they made these to perfectly fit a standard knife slot on a Pelican case. I will say it's really tight on my guard dog insert, but the back row of my guard dog case has larger slots for bigger knives. Fits perfectly in there. So protect your knives is basically what I'm saying. When the air conditioner's off, I shut that, and that helps. And then I keep the air conditioner running most of the time now. I just set it to like 70. I'll put it on eco when I leave, you know? And it's just what I do to protect it from rusting. Because I would literally find knives in my case that rusted without me even carrying them. I had a para 3 in K390, and I didn't carry it for like a month. And I looked at it when I was going to sell it, and it had rust along the spine and around the hole. And it came right out. It didn't pit or anything. It was just surface rust, but it's annoying, right? If you need to get rust out, I highly recommend a rust eraser. It literally just looks like an eraser. You can get them on Amazon for like $10 or 2-pack for $10, something like that. And you literally just take it and erase the rust. So you take your knife, and if you have rust, you know, do I have any on here? I might, because this knife likes to rust. And you just kind of erase it, literally like you would, you know, pencil or something. And it comes off pretty well, honestly. You can also get, this is probably the best option, is Flitz polish. And again, you can get this on Amazon. If I remember, I'll link all this stuff. I'm just bad at remembering that. And you literally just take a tiny bit, wipe it on the area that has rust on it, and then wipe it right off. You don't have to wait. You don't do anything. Wipe it right off, and then clean that area really well is what I do. And you'll see a bunch of black stuff come off. It's gross. But those two are really good. The only thing you want to make sure of is if you are trying to do that to like a really expensive knife with like a hand satin, just be careful. Test it somewhere, because it will kind of change your finish a little bit. Like I may have done it on this knife before, and you can see, I'm trying to see if there's a spot. I swear I did. Yeah, you can see it a little bit in the fuller. You see that coloring? Like it'll change your finish a little bit, especially if it's like a bead blast, because it kind of polishes it. You know what I mean? It's literally Flitz polish. Same with the rust eraser. All right. So I think I've rambled enough without showing you knives. Let's talk about some of the best rust-proof or knives I carry in a rusty situation. So if I'm going to do yard work, or if I'm going to be out all day at a carnival or the zoo or something where I know I'm going to be sweaty and whatever, there's certain knives I will bring, and there's certain ways you can go about it, right? And I'm mainly talking to people who have these problems. Some of you might never rust anything, or maybe you live in California and you just don't have to worry about it. But some of us live, like I live in Pennsylvania, and it's fucking humid as shit. It sucks. You know, if you live down south, it's brutal, right? But a lot of places out west are dry. You know, there's no humidity. So it comes down to you and your environment. So a couple of clear first choices would be Quiet Carry. I absolutely love Quiet Carry. Their knives are incredible. Bryce and his team over there have been doing their thing for years, and they just know what they're doing. I don't know how else to put it. They don't really follow trends and try to do what other people are doing. They more or less set trends. You know, they just do their thing. And they're not trying to have the most drop-shutty knife you can get. They're just trying to give you the best EDC possible. And I feel like a rust-proof EDC is the best one for me, right? Ooh, that rhymed. So these two are in Van X Super Clean. So if you can get yourself a knife With Vanex, I would highly recommend it if you have these rusting problems. I can carry these knives anywhere. You could carry these in your swim shorts and go into the ocean. You can, you can swim in them. You can do yard work for days in them. You could go camping and not have to worry about your knife rusting ever, They are the most rust-resistant knives I think you can get. Now, I know there's some of those Terravantium knives. You can obviously check those out if you want. The dendritic cobalt, to me, it just doesn't do it for me. It's not steel, first off. It's dendritic cobalt. And it doesn't take a polished, sort of smooth, not smooth, but I should say like a super slicey edge. It takes a like toothy edge, if that makes sense. And I've actually used those and compared, and it kind of tears what you're cutting where this slices, if that makes sense. And I'm more the kind of guy who does slicing. I'm slicing a bag of mulch. I'm slicing fertilizer bags. Shit like that. I'm cutting tape. I'm cutting into packaging. I'm cutting shipping labels. I don't want to tear. I want to slice. So fruit, you know what I mean? So these to me are just the best quiet carry. You can get some of their knives in LC200N, like their new Chase that just came out. It's a thumb stud version of the Chase in LC200N. It's probably, like $200, which would be a good price for that. So I definitely recommend checking out quiet carry. The Waypoint is a titanium inset liner lock. The liners are all LC200N. You have marine grade titanium hardware, and then of course you have that Vanex Super Clean, which to me is the best steel on the planet, hands down. You guys can talk about MagnaCut, you could talk about LC200N, whatever you want to talk about, M390, the stuff everybody loves. Vanex is my top choice all day, every day. I love it. If I could have every knife that I come out with Debo knives be in Vanex, I would. It's just that good. It's extremely corrosion resistant, basically rust proof. It takes a really good edge, right? It holds that edge really well. I would put it up there with like Elmax. It's a little better than S35, I think, but not quite M390. So I'd put it around Elmax maybe, and that all depends on heat treat. You know what I mean? But you can have a lower heat treat on Vanex, I feel like, and get better edge retention results than you do on a lot of steels, if that makes sense. Like M390 has to be perfect to get the best out of it. Vanex, I feel like you have a little bit of wiggle room, but I know shit about heat treat, so don't hold me to that. But yeah, so that's the Waypoint. I love it. It's on washers. It's not going to drop shut. Some people have ones that they've carried and used for a long time, even though I've done that with this, and they shake and they're really, not drop shutty, but they'll shake to their nail at least and then close. Mine has never done that, never will probably, but it is buttery smooth, and the best thing, it snaps out. That's the thing, is CRKs and other knives on washers I don't like because they usually don't snap out like this does. This is the Drift thumb stud version. Again, on washers, but very smooth, right? This one's better for sure. This one does drop to my nail. And then smooth shakedown. And again, you got that detent that just pops, and I love that. This one's in G10. Again, LC200N liners. Vanex Super Clean blade. So these are going to be your ultra rust proof work knives, in my opinion, for my kind of day-to-day EDC, yard work, stuff like that. Maybe your work knife needs to be, a Satu or something. Then, not for you. There might be somebody out there who can do this video with that type of bruiser knife, as Dave would call them. So those are the Waypoints. The next sort of rust proof knife I have is the Oz Machine Company Roosevelt. So absolutely love this knife. Fantastic EDC knife. It is a Zfinite blade, which is LC200N. They also come in MagnaCut, which is also basically rust proof. and not quite as good as LC200 under Van X, but it's right there. And then you have titanium scales. There's no steel washers, so that those can't rust. The only thing on this knife that could rust is the steel insert. But the reason it doesn't bother me, or I don't think it would be an issue, is because you have ceramic detent balls in there. Well, I guess the newer ones actually lock up on the insert, don't they? They don't lock up on the balls anymore. So I guess it would cause an issue with lockup. But I don't know. I think it would be really hard to get to the point where your stop pin and your insert are rusting. Because that's it. Everything else on here is ceramic, titanium, zircotite or whatever, and Zephonite. You know what I mean? Like, and here's the thing. I'm not going to use this knife for crazy shit I would use this for. This I would take into the ocean and have, you know, be in my pocket. If I jumped in a pool, I wouldn't care. This I would take a little more care with, and you know what I mean? But I still carry this like on a day where, like I said, I'm going to an event that's outside in the heat. This is one of the first knives I think to carry because it's nice, it's super fidgety and fun, and it's a great EDC, and it's basically rust proof. So it just makes it so much easier to choose to carry because I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to wipe the blade down every time I do something. I don't have to, you know, keep an eye on it. I just carry, use it, put it back in the case. Good to go. So those are the three that I would say are like inherently, not fully rust proof. This one, but the other two are. But they're kind of inherently like that. They're great options to look for, right? Then there's some other obvious choices if you think about it. And this is more or less choices in knife finish than it is the knives themselves. But you have the Kaiser Mojave Outdoors Original with a coated blade. So if you get a knife with a coated blade, guess what? You're good. The only thing you could rust is the edge, right? Now, I don't know if anybody's like torture tested a knife with a coating through going to the beach and all that shit. You know, maybe you could rust it. I don't know. There's probably parts in here, of course. You know, they're steel, but they're all coated. According, you know, looking at it, everything's coated in there except for maybe if there's washers. So this would be a really good option, again, if you're just trying to throw something in the pocket and not worry about it. This would be a good option for, again, for me, for like the yard work and stuff. Just take this out, slice open a mulch bag, chuck it back in the pocket, and sweat all over it. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I'm looking for, is I don't need to worry about it. So a coated blade obviously makes sense. And then similarly, a blackwash blade, which is probably my second favorite finish on a blade. You know, I am an absolute whore for a belt satin. And a regular stonewash is really growing on me. But I think a blackwash is my next favorite because it's this, which to me looks like somebody painted it on, right? It just doesn't look good to me. But then they tumble it. And it just gives it this beautiful look. I mean, the edges, like all of the transitions, the swedges, whatever you call those, they just look so good because they've been tumbled over and it kind of glistens. You kind of see it. You can see it's like a lighter color here and around the hole. It just, to me, is awesome. So I love a blackwash, and it's naturally going to resist rust. You have a coating over the blade. So it's perfect for carrying when you're worried about rusting, right? This is an EMP EDC Nimble, by the way, if you weren't sure on that. And I told you this one already. Sorry, I'm still getting over something. All right. And then, if you want to go old school, you could carry a knife in a slip. So, if you have your knife tucked away in a slip, it's going to be much less likely that you sweat all over it or the humidity from outside gets in there and causes issues, right? You're essentially protecting the knife with the slip. Let's see if I can get that back in there the right way. There we go. These are Jack Wolf knives. So you have the Jack Wolf knives laid back Jack, or as I call it, the pickleback Jack in green fat carbon. And then you have the Jack Wolf knives Sharpshooter Jack in dark matter blue fat carbon. And they have this gorgeous belt satin full hollow grind. I love them. But if you keep them in the slip, you're pretty much helping yourself keep them from rusting, right? And then I have the Kvist Blade Works custom variant here. This one's an S45EN. These two are an M390. You do have the liners here and all that stuff, but that's, you know, the one liner in there is titanium. I assume the hardware is titanium. Yeah, hardware is titanium. So, I mean, S45 is pretty corrosion resistant anyway. And that would really be the only thing on here that could rust. I guess there's washers in there if I'm thinking about it. I don't know, actually. I can't remember. There should be, though, if it's, you know, carbon fiber in there. But that would be it for steel is the washers and the blade, obviously. So, I don't know. This would be a great option, honestly, I think. And then you keep it in the slip, you're good to go, right? Basically, my point is you can slip carry, and that should help you a good bit as well, in my opinion. Somebody can dispute that if they like. I'm not an expert on slip carry, so I just may not have had enough experience and come across any issues like that. But I haven't had any, so I'm just trying to figure out which way it goes in. Should go in. Nope, that feels wrong. There we go. All right, sorry. I'm a maniac. All right, now I want to talk about some things you should worry about. All right, so be careful in this case. I do want to have one honorable mention. And for reference, I'll just use this knife. For honorable mention, a beater. So I say beater because this is like 50, 60 bucks. For me, that's a super budget knife. I'm not too worried about it. In this case, it's D2, and I probably wouldn't choose this one. But my point is, find a knife that's just a beater, right? Like find a CRKT you have laying around the house, or, you know, something old or whatever that, you know, a beater knife. You know what a beater knife is. And use that. Carry that when you're worried about rusting, because you're not worried about that knife, right? If it rusts, oh, well, maybe you clean it off, maybe chuck the knife. I don't know. But you're not too worried about it, right? So, what to worry about? And I got 3 knives here, and you'll possibly pick out a pattern. We'll see if you pick out a pattern. All right. So, this is the Ferrum Forge Knives Stinger. And we do have, I believe, titanium scales, frame. Oh, no, it's steel. Okay, sorry. Steel frame, bead blasted with micarta scales over top. This is a gift, actually, from my buddy Jake, Bearded Gear. So you could rust the liners, and this is what I'm saying. This is what to watch out for. This knife has rusted on me multiple times. I've had to rust erase, flitz polish this thing. I actually got one of these, a different one, marbled carbon fiber one. You probably could see the video. Find it, I mean. And it came to me rusted. Like, I had to take it apart, and there was rust inside the bearing pockets. There was rust all over the blade, up in the jimping. Like, it was bad. So this is a knife I occasionally just check. Even though I never carry it, just sits in the case. I have to check it and clean rust off every once in a while. And the reason for that is it's a bead blasted blade. Now, this is supposed to be Nitro V steel. And I question that, because Nitro V is a really good steel when it comes to corrosion resistance. I have kitchen knives in Nitro V because it's a good kitchen knife steel because it's corrosion resistant. But what a bead blast does is it kind of like opens up the pores of the knife, of the steel. So it kind of makes it susceptible to rusting more than it would otherwise. Where, on the other hand, a stone washing protects the steel from rusting. Like, so you're I don't know technically how it works, but with a stone wash, you're tumbling the blade and you're basically peppering it with stones and media of some sort. And it's kind of like putting a layer of that on there, right? Just kind of like a light beat down. Hard. It's almost like, I don't know how to explain it, but you know what, I mean, you should know what a stone wash is. And a bead blast kind of like coats it sort of in something and like really opens the pores up of the steel. I don't know. I'm an idiot. So somebody explain it down below. And it makes your steel more susceptible to rusting. So a knife like this, a lot of budget knives come with a bead blast because it's the easiest finish for them to do. And that's why you see it on a lot of budget knives. So this is like a mortal sin in my opinion. This is in D2 steel, which is already, China D2, is already a very rust, like, inhibited steel. Is that the right word? It rusts really easy, D2, right? And then they bead blast it. So you're just asking for the knife to rust. You know what I mean? So those are things to watch out for if you're like me and you rust knives easily or whatever. Your environment has those issues. Try to avoid knives with bead blasts like that. And then this one's on the table for the same reason. So I'll zoom in here, and you're going to say, Kev, that's a freaking machine belt set, and that looks sexy, and it does. But look at the slot. You see the slot and the fuller? Well, guess what? They bead blast that because it's really the only thing they can do in that area because of the way it's shaped. It's got that concave to it or whatever. Convex, whichever one. So they can really just bead blast that. My guess is they bead blast that and then they do I don't know how they do it. Anyway, what I'm going to tell you is to be very careful with the hole and the fuller on these knives. Inside the fullers, right? Or inside the holes. Inside the jimping, there's little spots down in there. That's what you will see rust first. That or along the spine. Something like that. You're not just going to see rusting all over your, you're going to see it in areas like that. I've already had to clean this one up one time. Now, it was extremely light. It was just a couple of, dots in here. And I went in there with the eraser, a little bit of flitz real quick, and then I cleaned it all out, and it's fine. But my OG Nimble, my original Nimble, looked like this, obviously, but it was this pattern. This dark bronze, dark tie, bronze hardware, and that satin blade. I rusted the inside of that hole, that fuller, so many times. I don't know if you guys remember that, but there was so many times I had to go in there and clean that out. I just did it all the time, and then I would put EDCI on it, which is another thing I'll talk about. I would put EDCI on it, rub it in, wait a second, wipe it off like they say, and then, 2 days later it'd be back. Worse. You know what I mean? So just be weary of a bead blast and check your holes. I know it's like getting a mammogram or checking your prostate or whatever. You got to do it. Check your holes. Check your holes occasionally. Make sure you don't have any rusting in your hole. Okay. And lastly, get yourself some knife shield. All right, I know this sounds like an ad because they send me stuff to give away, but they only send me stuff to give away because I love their products, and I reached out to them about sending me stuff. You know what I mean? So there's a difference there. I only promote companies I believe in their products. You know, so yes, I am trying to sell you this, but it's because I like it, and I'm not trying to sell it to you. Like, if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. But I'm just telling you, I'm giving it a positive review and saying you should get it because I like it. You can see how much I've used. Do not buy, in my opinion, do not buy EDCI. I tried EDCI for a year. Like that Nimble I had, I used it on that a bunch. And I swear my knives rusted faster when I put EDCI on it. I put EDCI all over my Medford Slim Mini before I went into Blade Show. And you can ask a handful of people that were with me at Blade Show last year, 21, like Knife Dude, my buddy Kyle, D2M Knives and Gear, Knives Fast, Casey. I took that Medford out of my pocket halfway through day one. And of course I was sweaty. It had rust spots all up in the fuller. And so it does nothing. It does nothing. But this works. This is Knife Shield from KPL. The other cool thing about this is it's a really good cleaner. It cleans your blade. So if you have like tape gunk and shit on your blade, see if I have anything with tape gunk. I was using this today. Damn it, I don't have anything. But I've done shorts on it before. You can check my shorts. Check my shorts. I've done videos on it before. But basically, you just spray your blade down, and then you wipe it off. Or you can do the trick like this, where you take the microfiber, spray it, the knife shield into it, and then kind of just wipe your blade down like this. You can see it puts a little film on there, and it's good. That's what you want. You want the little film on there. Make sure you get it in your hole, like I said. Get it in your hole. This is S90B, so I'm guessing it's more prone to rusting than other stuff, but not like crazy bad. And then you just wipe it down. And you'll be impressed, guys. If you do that with a knife that has tape gunk all over it, that shit comes right off. Like, you just give it a little bit of rub as you rub it off, rub it off. That's what she said. And it'll just come right off. It's incredible. Alcohol, shit like that never works on that stuff. But Knife Shield does. And as it does that, so you just cleaned your blade of tape gunk, and you also left a rust preventative on there. Now, I'm not saying this is going to protect you from ever rusting your knife. Like, if you put your knife in a bad enough situation, it'll probably still rust, right? Also, when you put this stuff on, make sure you actually dry it off and wipe it off, because I don't know what happens if you leave, like, this stuff just, like, wet on there forever. I don't know if it would actually cause rust, but I wouldn't try that. But this stuff's awesome, and it actually works. So, highly recommend Knife Shield. Again, all this stuff you can get at KPL. They have a rust prevention tab, I think, and use my code LeftyEDC. So there you go, guys. That's 30 minutes of me blathering on and on about rust and corrosion resistance. Depending on your situation, make a good decision with what you carry. Oh, the last thing you could do is carry off body. Just put your knife in a bag. Put your knife in a fanny pack. Whatever. If it's not near your sweaty ass or exposed to the humidity, it's probably going to have a better chance of not rusting, right? And worst case scenario, if you bring your $300 knife that you don't want to rust, right? You bring it on vacation and you're going to the beach and you're like, man, I really don't want to rust my nimble. Just don't bring it to the beach. Just leave your nimble in the room and take your waypoint with you. You know what I mean? Yeah, you might not be able to fidget as well with it, but you can still reverse flicker. You can still reverse flick it, You still have fun. And you know what? you could always just bring your fidget toy, because I know you're into that now. And one of the cool things about the fidget toys is a lot of them are made out of the non-rusting materials. There are some that are made out of steel, but a lot of them are titanium, zirconium, they're brass, copper, shit like that doesn't rust, which is kind of cool. So you can just fidget with that on the beach, not worry about rusting your knife, Happy days, folks. All right, I love you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, please, if you wouldn't mind. Correct me if I was wrong about anything, because I know I said a lot of shit in this video, and I don't know everything, and maybe I thought I knew something that I was wrong about. Feel free to let me know down in the comments. Just don't be a dick about it. I'd love to start a discussion about this and get your guys' take. Do you have that one knife that you'll just always take when you're worried about a rusty situation? I'm sure a lot of guys have that one knife, And for me, it's pretty much the Waypoint. Unless it's yard work, then I don't know. Then I grab the Drift a lot. But it's always a quiet carry. You know what I mean? If I'm going to be using it, it's usually a quiet carry. If it's going to be like an event, it's going to be the Rosie, So, I love you guys. I hope you have a absolutely wonderful day. And I will catch you later.